Okay, guys, this is a mini lecture for English 101C, and I'm going to be giving a little talk about outlining argument essays, um, why having a plan is always a good idea. That's just what an outline is. It's just a plan for your essay, kind of bird's eye view of each paragraph. I don't recommend really detailed outlines. I think they can be, I don't know, annoying. I never liked writing them. I just like to know what I'm doing in each paragraph before I start actually writing the essay. It also helps to have some of your supporting evidence written down, knowing where it's going in each paragraph. So we're just going to look at some overviews of arguments, outlines of arguments, just to give you some samples. So, and by the way, we'll go back. Feel free to just pause this. I'll tell you to pause so I don't have to read through the entire outline. You can pause the video, read through it yourself, and then press play to get my commentary and stuff. So this first one is a little bit dated, okay? But the thesis of the argument would be cannabis should be legalized in California. We all know that already happened. But these were some of the arguments. So each of these bullet points might be a paragraph, right? And they're each supporting points. Frees up police resources used enforcing anti-pot laws, the taxes on cannabis, boost to the California economy, help to California farmers, more boost to the economy, and of course in each one of these you would want to provide evidence, some statistics from a reliable source, right? So if you go down, you see these are all, what are those, 5 supporting points. Now here's the thing that's very important. You see on the 6th bullet point, we're anticipating our opposition. Okay, so our thesis is that cannabis should be legalized. Our opposition, of course, thinks it should not. So if you want to come across as a reasonable person and build a stronger argument, you have to anticipate your opposition and take seriously their opposition, and then answer their concern. So doing this once or twice in your essay is very helpful for you to look like a reasonable writer, thinker. So in this case, you would say, my opposition will argue that legalizing cannabis would cause an increase in substance abuse. They say blah, blah, blah. And then, right after you anticipate your opposition, you come back with what's called a rebuttal, where you answer that concern. In this case, you would say, however, studies prove that cannabis is non-addictive, much less so than alcohol, etc., etc., and show some medical research to support that. So you see how doing this once or twice, it doesn't have to be at the end, it could be in the middle of your essay, wherever you like. It helps you make one more point, and it also shows your audience that you're someone who is listening to reason, you've done your homework, you're listening to the opposition, you've considered their points, and you can still rebut them, but you get rhetorical credit for having listened. Okay, so take a look at this next one. You can pause the video here, read through this outline. Okay, and the same thing is working here. Thesis being Ohlone should not be a smoke-free campus. Right there. This was a big debate a number of years ago. And so the supporting points are there, those 3 bullet points. But then again, we anticipate the opposition. We say, and they always start with a sentence like, opponents to a smoke-free campus would say that secondhand smoke is harmful to non-smokers, right? The rebuttal coming back would be, however, what my opposition doesn't realize is that Ohlone would have a separate smokers area where smokers could go. It would be away from classrooms, and their smoke would be non-harmful to others. Okay, so you see how this is working? I'll click on this next one. You can pause the video now and read through it. Okay, and it really works the same way. You see what, like I said, a bird's eye view of the essay looks like, and this is really important. One of the important things about outlining is it helps you stay on track. I'm sure you've all had the experience of writing an essay, and you're 3 or 4 paragraphs in, and then you realize, oh no, I've kind of gone off on a tangent. Well, if you have your outline next to your computer as you're writing, it's impossible to go off on a tangent because you know what you're doing in every paragraph. So this is really important. Here are 2 thesis statements, each in total opposition. Okay, I'm going to show you outlines for each one of those. Okay, so the first one will be the U.S. should finish the wall along the U.S.-Mexican border. So here's the outline for that. You can pause the video now and read through that. So you see a clear outline for a short essay arguing that we should finish the wall. But here you go. Here's the opposing side. You can pause the video now and read through this one. Okay, so you see that the point is really the same. Whatever argument you're making, whatever your thesis is, it's important to have a plan, to have your paragraphs be distinct. That's the other very good reason for having an outline, is that you can see when you have an outline if 2 of your paragraphs are kind of similar, and you can avoid that. You don't want your ideas kind of blurring together. You want each paragraph to be a distinct supporting point, right? That helps you support your thesis. Okay. Violent video games are bad for children, right? The supporting points being kids copy what they see, quote a child development expert. Violence, examples from popular games. Sexism, give some specific examples. Rage-inducing effects of video games show evidence that kids are more aggressive after playing video games. Well, see, here's the problem. That paragraph and the first bullet point paragraph are pretty similar. So I might actually want to fuse those and make the 2 of them one paragraph. Right? The point of opposition here is that, well, we have rating systems to keep the games out of kids' hands. Okay? Of course, the rebuttal will say, well, that system doesn't work. Everybody knows that kids download video games that are violent, get parents to buy them for their kids, or they copy them from each other, or whatever. Okay? So this anticipating of the opposition and then offering a rebuttal is a strengthening tactic for all of your essays, for any argument essay. Now, some of you might be choosing to write about literature, a poem, short story. So you're wondering, how do I outline a literary analysis essay? It's similar. You have a thesis. That is a statement of opinion. Opinion is your interpretation, what you think the author is trying to say or do through their short story or their poem. And then, of course, each of your body paragraphs is a distinct idea, each with a supporting point that helps defend your thesis. Here's the thing, though. In literature, you're generally using evidence from the text of the story or the poem. You're not going to statistics or expert evidence or expert commentary. You're really using the text itself, the author's choice of dialogue or metaphor or what the characters do or say or don't do um, to help you make your case for your interpretation. In a literary analysis, you can anticipate an alternative interpretation, which you might call your opposition, but it's not absolutely necessary, as it is in more like an issue paper about whether we should legalize cannabis or something. Okay, so that's the end of this mini lecture. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. But I do want you to see the value of outlining, even just a rough outline, before you begin. And it will make things a lot clearer for you and for your readers. Okay.